Hello, my dear listeners, and today we're going to drift to the quiet edge of a lake. We're going to explore what makes lakeside homes so beautiful. I wanted to do a video with a deeper dive talking about lakeside houses. I think my viewers are mostly people who are interested to hear some things about interior and about architecture. I think this will be fun and relaxing video for them. Please let me know if you like it or if you don't like it. But I think it's gonna be fun. Okay, let's talk about this beautiful house. And the house that we're gonna be talking about is located in Lakefront Community Sunset in South Carolina. Here we see the porch area. This is the kitchen. Here is living room. A primary bedroom, bathroom, and main living room. I haven't been able to find exterior pictures of this house, but I found images of another modern lake house, so I think this will be similar to what this house could look like. I'll keep it here so we can compare it. Look at this gorgeous exterior. I think this is a good representation of a typical modern house by the lake or the river. And before we talk about lakeside houses, I would like to give a little bit of history. And I wanted to keep this image on the side so we can compare to previous versions of the lakeside houses. So here, as we can see on the image, are the early origins of the lake house. Humans always built near freshwater, lakes, rivers, but mostly for survival. People needed water for fishing, farming, and transport. So early dwellings were often made from wood, wooden huts like this, or stilted houses. These early homes weren't for leisure. They were very practical and mostly protective from the outdoor elements. Now let's jump in all the way to 18th and 19th century. And here we see a good representation of a house from Romantic era. This was a very revolutionary time in architecture because this was a time when artists, writers, and architects began celebrating peaceful and untouched landscapes. Lake becomes the symbol of calmness and reflection. Here we see a beautiful mansion in Italy by the lake, and Romantic era was the time when wealthy families in Europe and North America started building houses and retreats by lakes. Here we can see the American lake cottage. This was the time when the idea of summer lake house became a part of American dream. This was early 20th century. This was the time when a lot of new railroads started being built. People started buying cars, so families who lived in the city were able to escape to the countryside. And this was the time when lakefront communities developed. It was a time for family, simplicity, and just slower living. On this image, we can see a mid-20th century modernism. So after World War II, modern architects started embracing a lakefront living. They saw lakes as a perfect sites to blend indoor and outdoor spaces. Design became very sleek and geometric, and I think we see a lot of now similarities in between our newer houses and the houses from the modern era. A lot of flat roofs, glass walls, open plans. So we shifted from the idea of cozy cottage, the American dream, more to the modern retreat. And now here we see modern lake houses that combine technology, sustainability, and design. Nowadays we use a lot of stone, steel, reclaimed wood, and there's always a large emphasis on big windows. Nowadays we can play with styles. We blend rustic, modern, Scandinavian, coastal, whatever is in trends, whatever is better suitable for the surrounding. So let's talk more about the lakeside houses. So lakeside houses aren't just houses. They are considered for us as a retreat space where we go for a rest. Houses like that are mainly shaped by their relationship with water. Design is always about framing the view. Let's look at some other examples of lake houses. We always have those large windows. Usually we see the minimal window treatments. It's nice to keep it clean, not to distract from this view. Because the lake or the river, it is always the star of the show. We also see a lot of open layouts, meaning that footprint of the plan is clean. There are no disruptive walls. And sometimes we take walls and blur the boundaries between spaces like kitchen and dining room and living room. They become all one big space, which creates even more open feeling, more connection with outdoors, provides a bigger space. And then we see materials like wood and stone that do reflect the outside environment. As I said before, sometimes it is better to keep the window treatments to the minimal. Now, this is not a lakeside house, but this is the house with the view. And sometimes window treatments like this do take a lot upon themselves and take away from the view, especially with the color choice here. Usually materials that are being used for lake houses are local materials. sustainable materials, materials that do reflect the surrounding. Look at this beautiful house on the water. We see here again the windows are facing water, and even the roof is slanted, which creates bigger emphasis on the wall that is facing the view. It's a beautiful design. Also in houses like this, we see a lot of sliding doors or folding glass doors, which makes it very accessible to get to the outside. Sometimes those doors can be kept open if it's a summertime. We see a lot of interactions with the outside. We see outdoor kitchens, we see good patio areas, we see porches. So if you're designing a house like this, or you're searching for one, or you're trying to buy a house on water, or maybe even looking for a vacation home to rent, it's always good to consider all elements like this so you can get the most use out of the view. You know, not just look at the beautiful nature, but also be able to interact with it, be able to spend time outside. And houses like this, they do need to provide this fun experience. It's all about the casual luxury in houses like this. These houses are always elegant, but they clean, simple, and put together. It's all about the comfort, and this what the luxury is in this case. One of another things to think about is seasonal adaptability. To think how the house is designed for summers and winters. One of the features for summer again is a shaded deck, so you can be outside but still be covered from sun. And also think about ventilation. And when we're talking about winters, features like a fireplace, or maybe heated floors, or even if you want to spend time outdoors in winter, maybe even heated porch. So those are also important features of a lakeside house to think about. So this house is being described as a rustic modern house. Let's talk a little bit about its style. Rustic interior, as we can see on an example here, is all about natural beauty, simplicity, authentic materials. We can see a clear inspiration from cabins, farmhouses, nature. It feels very warm and cozy. Rustic interiors are about being imperfect on purpose. We see a lot of textures, we see age and craftsmanship. So natural materials like wood We see these beautiful wooden beams on the ceiling. We also see the wooden wall. Again, there is a stone, like this accent wall here by the window. For detailing and hardware, we see iron or metal. And the same features we can see here. We see the wooden beams. We see this iron chandelier. We see stone on the fireplace. And for textiles, we see leather, linen, and wool. I haven't noticed leather furniture in this lakeside house, but here we see a leather couch. And for colors, we see warm browns, cream, sometime olive or moss green, grays, so everything that was inspired by nature. And in this interior we saw a little bit of olive accents here and there, but mostly plaid is very neutral. Here on this image we see another rustic interior, and when we talk about rustic furniture feels very solid, heavy, and has a handcrafted feel to it. And a lot of the times in rustic interiors we see tables like this. We see a similar coffee table on this picture. We also see iron chandeliers again, and same with this example. And sometimes we see leather in furniture, which again I haven't noticed here. But this interior is claimed to be rustic modern. So let's also talk about modern. Here on this image you see a good example of modern interior, and sometimes people mistake modern with contemporary, but modern actually is a historical style that began in early 20th century. So that was roughly 1920s and 1960s. We see this is a good representation of the modern movement interior. It's simple, it's functional, so we do not see unnecessary decoration. We see the beauty that is shown through clean lines and structure. It's functional and it's minimal. Clean lines, neutral color palette, and again open floor plans. And we see the same elements here. We see a lot of clean lines, neutral color palette, and again an open floor plans. Since this interior was described as modern rustic, we take modern and we take rustic and we mix them together and we get modern rustic. And again, in this image we can clearly see some elements from rustic and some elements from modern. We see that the bones or the skeleton of an interior is modern, but we see some elements from a rustic interior, like the wooden beams. We see a beautiful accent stone wall, and even this little coffee table in the center. It is modern, but there is something rustic about it. So this is usually how we can play with different styles. Sometimes we can mix and match. You don't always have to stick with one style. For example, modern can sometimes feel very cold, and uninviting, versus rustic can sometimes feel very heavy and cluttered. But if you want something in between, you can mix those styles and get a perfect proportion of both of them. Same thing we can do with rustic. For example, there is farmhouse rustic, there is coastal rustic, there is Scandinavian rustic. So you can mix and match different things based on your personal style, the location of the house, or just your preferences, whatever you like. So let's get back to our house. Let's talk about this beautiful kitchen. Here we see again bones of modern interior. I only see a few elements of rustic design, like the spaces, accessories here, but mostly to me this is modern. A lot of geometric forms, an open layout. We see wood, whites, and metal. I think what's remarkable about this kitchen is the ceiling height. It's not only being enhanced by the windows, but again, this is very tall space for such a small footprint. And I think what is so smart about the designer who did this, sometimes for a small footprint, the ceiling height like this could feel very grand, maybe a little too grand sometimes. So they brought the wood paneling down here, so feels visually like the ceiling starts here. It creates a cozier feeling of the space. Like if we look at the general kitchen, I would say 10 to 12 foot high, and here we see, I would even say maybe 20, 17 high foot ceilings, but that's a very smart move to do. Also, another thing for a lake house, we do consider this a house for a retreat, to have a big island that has an area for stools where the host can cook and the guest can hang around the kitchen. This creates this very little nice social area. I think kitchen and living room are most important spaces again to consider if you're searching for a retreat house like this. And there's the beautiful black framed windows. A lot of clean lines give us a feeling of uncluttered life. Everything feels very thoughtful and organized. And let's look at this fireplace wall. So kitchen, it was right here, has the same height as the living room area, and this is the dining area. So the fire space would be right here. We're looking in this direction. And again, we see full height stone chimney, which is gorgeous. This modern rustic chandelier, very beautiful. And again, this space to me feels rustic. We see this wooden table, we see wooden exposed beams, the fireplace, cozy, but at the same time minimal and clean. And again, look how on this house maximizes the view. They are showing us here that the primary bedroom gets the gorgeous view. Even the bathroom gets this beautiful view of the lake. So I think this is very successful design, because we don't see the outside a lot, but we see that from the inside we get a lot of views of the outside. Furniture in the living room is all about the comfort. The comfort is the luxury in these types of houses. Very neutral palette, everything is clean and put together, but at the same time it's warm. And let's go back and talk about another main feature of this house is the porch area. Covered porch is so important in the lakeside house. It creates an extension of an interior space to the outside. So this is a perfect transitional space between indoors and outdoors. Again, this is not just an accessory, this is the heart of the retreat experience. You are sitting here, you do get the front row of this beautiful view. You see how, seasons change, you see the weather, you are being outside, but then again you are covered from the weather elements. One of the things to consider about a porch like this is to have a screen here, a bug screen that can protect you from bugs in summer. So again, you would be outside but will be covered from the elements. And also another main element are lounge chairs like this and a nice dining set. Again, if you are looking for a vacation house, always look for a nice sitting area, because everyone's going to be outside, especially if the weather is nice. Like this, for example, where you can arrange a dining space outside if the weather allows. This is when you fully get to experience the nature. And on this beautiful note, I hope that you get to enjoy a beauty of a lakeside house sometime soon. Wishing you all the best. Bye bye.